Meeting auf Zoom von the Coaching und ich kenne nicht Zoom, ich arbeite nicht Internet. Weiß nicht.
Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. How are we doing today? We're here
Good
and
morning.
very excited to see everybody. Thank you so much. Are you
Good
guys doing
morning,
good?
Jacob. Just,
Oh, go ahead.
just give me a minute. I just want to welcome everyone. I want to introduce you, and then I'll give you the mic. Okay? So, welcome on, everyone. Really excited to have Jacob Rupp here. He has spent more than a decade helping coaches, consultants, and entrepreneurs turn their expertise into thriving businesses. He's known for combining deep personal transformation with practical sales, marketing, and leadership strategies. He runs a lot of programs, coaching programs. He does his own coaching, and he's helped hundreds of clients gain clarity and increase their revenue and build their businesses that really help them create financial success and meaningful impact. His work challenges the traditional idea that you need complicated funnels or years of struggle to succeed. Instead, he simply focuses on monetizing what you already do best. So, welcome to the call, and I'm really excited to have you.
All right. Thank you so much. I'm very excited to be here as well. I expect this call to be 12 o'clock Eastern time, and I'm on the Pacific time. So, next call, I will be right on time, and I appreciate all of your patience so much. The way that I wanted to run this call, if with all of your permissions, of course, is that I wanted to make this the most practical thing possible. Meaning, I think that instead of just me rambling on, which is exciting probably for me, what would be really helpful is for me to create a couple of basic frameworks and then basically open up the floor to either one-on-one conversations about how we could build your specific thing, and then everyone else can watch and sort of learn from the frameworks that we're working on. I know this is part of a three-part series that I'm so happy was put together. So again, I might not answer every single question ever that when it comes to building your business, but hopefully we'll get through some meaningful things each time, and then hopefully we'll build one on the other. I hear a could everyone mute themselves as possible? That would be amazing. And if it's me, I apologize. Can you guys hear that? That's rough, right? All right. Let's all mute. Let's all mute ourselves. I will try not to mute myself. Devori, can you, as the host, mute everybody, and then I'll unmute myself.
Yeah, I'm doing that now. I'm
Thank
doing
you
that
so
now.
much. Okay, I think that echo's gone. Not quite. Can you guys? No, it's not. Okay, we'll look and smile at each other awkwardly for a little bit while we. Perfect. Perfect. Okay, so again, I'm going to try to run this. I run calls for my own community often, so I'm going to run it the way that I usually run the calls, which is I love using the chat box. I am a self-diagnosed ADHD person, so what would be best is just put your things in the chat box. I will respond to that as soon as possible. That way we'll have a working record of everything, make sure we get through everybody's questions. And if there's something that we're going to be covering in subsequent conversations, I'll just let you know we'll handle it then. Also, I'm going to give Dvory my info. And if you guys want to reach out, again, I'm looking just to help as many people as I can. So feel free to reach out at any point, and I can, if we don't handle your question specifically in this call, please feel free to reach out, and I'm happy to do that. The two things that I wanted to kind of figure out first and foremost, I wanted to basically download. Can you guys thumbs up? Are we okay so far? Am I talking too fast, too slow? Can we hear me okay? Are we comfortable? Everything's good? Okay. I was also going to say just one thing because I like to just say the quiet parts out loud. I'm working in my office. It's a national holiday for those that are not aware, and they turned off the air conditioning in the whole building. So if you notice me sweating profusely, it's simply because that's why I'm perfectly healthy, hopefully otherwise, but it's just quite warm in the room. Okay, so what I really wanted to focus on in today's conversation is basically my philosophy around why I'm going to ask you the questions that I do, and then specifically how to figure out how to structure our business, and then how to figure out the people for whom we are going to be trying to reach out to. That was kind of the two things that I wanted to cover specifically in this framework. And then if there's anything else, I'd love to open it up. I'm going to break it into three parts: A, my philosophy; two, how to structure our business; and then three, how to figure out who we're trying to attract. And I will hopefully have, if you guys are open to it, ask for volunteers after we go through each part. Maybe not the first one, we'll see, to like just kind of be the guinea pigs where we kind of like build your business while we're on the call. Does that work? Thumbs up, nod if possible. And that's okay. That's my plan. Okay. And then if things are go off or whatever it might be, just feel free to redirect me. And I'm excited about that opportunity. Okay. So Here's my philosophy. Again, for those that are not aware, I started off as an outreach rabbi. I worked at UCLA for a bunch of years. I worked for NCSY. I worked for the OU, Aish Torah. Bottom line was I loved helping people, and I have 4 children. Thank God they go to private schools, as I'm sure many of you have more children and go to even more private schools, whatever it might be. And that's very expensive if you're the sole breadwinner, which I was. So I basically had this constraint that I had to make money. Otherwise, my family was, God forbid, going to starve. So my whole bias towards building the business was always, how do I do the meaningful work that I love, but how do I get it to produce enough money so that I don't have to get another job or have this awkward conversation where I'm telling my kids, and God forbid that hopefully no one is in that phase. Probably not a good idea to go into coaching or launch your business when you're like that. But there was a very clear bias towards, I needed to make money and I didn't have a million years to make it. So therefore, everything that I'm going to explain is how do we actually get our businesses off the ground at the fastest, most ethical way possible. Does anyone have any questions about that? Granted, again, there's a million different ways out there, and I had no money and I had to make money quite quickly. So my bias is always, what's the minimum amount of money you have to spend? What's the fastest way that you can make money? And why is it so important to make money? Oftentimes because there's a great book. You don't have to read it. Here's the summary. There's a guy named Simon Sinek. He wrote a book called The Infinite Game of Business, where he basically says the goal of business is just to keep playing, right? There's this idea that we just want to earn enough that we can keep growing and keep going. Because ultimately, if we invest a lot of money and we don't make that return, either we will have to say to ourselves or we'll have to have that awkward conversation with our spouse of, hey, by the way, remember all the money I said I was going to make? That's not happening and I have to spend more money. So we don't really want that. I didn't want that. So I'm always going to be trying to figure out how do we get off the ground as fast as possible. I'll share one other idea, and that's going to kind of close out my approach to business. I was a rabbi, but I was always inspired by and wanted to work with entrepreneurs, small business owners. And so even though I worked in nonprofit for most of my career before, my whole background in coaching was working with people that built businesses. And so one of the things that I learned right away, shocking, and as I worked with them more and more, then I started doing more business coaching because I actually knew what I was doing at that point because I was helping people and I was learning from them, is that the job of an entrepreneur, the job of a business is to make money. And if it's anything else, it's chesed, it's opportunities, it's giving, but the job of a business is to make money. And the best way to make money in a business is to sell one thing to one person one time. So we're always trying to chase, and again, that is contrary to a lot of people, again, in the nonprofit world, in Clay Kodesh, in the coaching world, is we're trying to figure out offers and trying to find our ideal client and trying to go out there and trying to feel comfortable and trying to feel good and trying to make others feel good. And God forbid, I wouldn't want to monetize someone's pain. And God forbid, I don't want to put myself out there. And what is everybody going to think? So does that resonate, by the way, with any of you guys? Have you experienced any of those feelings ever at any point? Or who am I to make so much money? Or will my family, how do I I'll have to get off government help if I make too much money, or my in-laws are going to look at me different if I make too much money, or my spouse is going to feel so there's all of this stuff. Business people think, how do I sell one thing to one person for $1 one time? Once you've done that, basically everything else becomes simple. So those are kind of the two frameworks that I use around my philosophy, which again is much more about how do we get the business to generate income for you, and the income that you generate will actually give you, here's my favorite word ever, not ever, but one of my favorite words, the data you need to know what to do next. Does that make sense? Do I want to work with women between 20 and 30? Do I want to work with women between 50 and 60? Do I want to help people with shalom bias? Do I want to help people with their relationship with themselves? Do I want to help people in their businesses? My thing always comes down to integrity and data. Integrity is, can I help? Do I know what I'm doing enough to help someone? That's usually pretty low, because anything that we'd want to help, again, if you want me to coach you on how to speak Chinese, we're both going to have a really awkward time because I don't know how to speak Chinese. And so that's not something I would coach on. But the areas in my life where I'm passionate, usually I can help other people with it. So again, I've spent an inordinate amount of time and made all the mistakes when it comes to marriage, business, mindset, spirituality, fitness. And so I feel fairly competent to help certain people with those areas. Again, engineering and Chinese language, love it, not your guy for that. So when we think about the integrity piece, we're always looking for people to help where we can really help them. Hopefully we're not talking to people that are trying to do not that. And also then it comes down to, how do I generate money as quickly as possible? I'm going to pause there. Please ask me any questions about why I'm structuring my philosophy the way it is, if this is helpful, etc., etc. I'll be quiet now. Feel free to unmute yourself, reach out, or put in the chat box. Yes, Ruchi, please.
I was curious about what you said about one person, one time. I don't understand that part.
Right. Thank you for clarifying. So one of the things that I found is that oftentimes when we as coaches are trying to build a business, we work on what's my offer, who's my ideal client, who are the people I can help. And if you're like me, I'm going to say this, but it's going to sound kind of funny. Again, in my business, I primarily work with I usually work with highly intelligent Jewish people. And if you're a highly intelligent Jewish person, usually we massively overthink everything and then we do very little. And we get in this whole thing, but we feel like we're doing a lot because we thought about it and we wrote out our journals and we put all the things together. And then at the end, it's been 25 years and we haven't actually talked to a single person about actually getting help once. And we feel very like, okay, so what happened? So what I found was the thing, instead of chasing who's my ideal client, but we will get to that, or what's my ideal price point, but we will get to that, or what are things I can help with, which we'll also get to. It's always like, what would be the fastest way I could make $1 today? Even if it's $50 for one thing, what's the fastest way I can get money? Because if that's the way you think about it, it's going to make you get much closer to all of those answers. By you, again, my mom thinks I'm wonderful. She loves everything I do. She's never going to give me, again, she's not a client of mine. So it's not fair for me to like build something I love and then sell it to my mom, because my mom will always think it's great no matter what. What I really want to do is go to the market of people who are potentially going to buy my stuff and say, hey, would you like to buy my stuff? And if they're like, that's ridiculous, no, great. Now I have to figure out, well, what would you buy, or who would buy this, versus me sitting and iterating on all these things, which again, pretty much all of my clients do, and it took me 10 years. Yes, ma'am.
So the one thing was a metaphor that you're doing.
Exactly.
You want to focus on what you're best at.
How do I get money today? Right? Again, and it's crazy thing, as someone that really struggled, and even if I sound like I have my stuff together, literally the only reason why I know how to do anything is I've just made more mistakes longer than anybody else, possibly. Right? That's why my results look the way they do. I've spent more money, I've made more mistakes, and that's how I learned. So after struggling to build my business for over 6 or 7 years, I got really good eventually being like, okay, how do I figure out how to get $1? And the crazy thing is, since then, I've been able to get people to making their first $1,000 or $10,000 sometimes within the first week of working with me, because I'm like, hey, I know how you think because I think the same way. Let's get out of our heads and let's just see, hey, you're a woman that's married that might potentially want a different marriage or better marriage or better, relationship with herself. Would you be interested in investing in yourself? And she might be like, get out of here. Or she might be like, gosh, where have you been all my life? I was literally just thinking, who can help me have a better marriage? At which point you're like, gosh, that was so much easier than me sitting in my room for 45 years, writing up the whole plan that my niche is, moms that live in this specific, zip code in Williamsburg, but not too close to that street, and this particular type and not that other type, and the skirt is this long and not that long, and the husband's beard is this long and not that long. And like, we have all these brilliant ideas, but the one thing we're not doing usually if we're in that iteration stage is making money. Make sense?
Yeah.
Awesome. Anyone else have any other questions? Thank you. Thank you for asking. Anyone else have any other questions about this particular thing? Okay. Are we ready? The other thing I like to joke about is there are few. I grew up, both my sister and I went to college in San Diego. I went to the better college, and then she went to the less good college. Now, the funny thing is, everyone that went to my school worked for the people that went to her school. Okay? So I always tell people that the businesses that are successful are simple and stupid. Be stupid. Don't be smart. Dumb everything down into the simplest terms possible. So what I'm going to tell you is, it's going to sound super basic, and that's actually by design. Because when we think basic, we're able to do a lot. I'm sure that's a deep Hasidic teaching. Rav Nachman says that explicitly, but let's just talk about business for now and work on that, right? So here's the way I like to think about it. Are you guys ready? Pen and paper. This is our first thing. If you don't know how to do this, we'll do it together. But I'm going to write this down. This is great. I think it's great, right? Figure out, number one, how much money do I want to generate every month? Now, again, start this month, start next month. Don't say in 5 years, don't say in 10 years, don't say based on, economic trends after we figure out the long-term implications of the, Iran deal. No, just like in the next month, how much money would I like to make in my business? Or if you're not really sure, in the next 3 months, best case scenario, how much money per month do I want to be making in my business? I've spoken to, write that down. I'm going to stop talking for a minute and I'm going to
Wrote it down. Wrote it down.
Awesome. Now, I've spoken to people who have been coaching for literally over a decade. People that, again, I don't know how close our worlds are. I'm assuming they're fairly close. People that many of you would know as coaches in the space, they go blank in their face. They have no idea. No one asked that basic question. Again, but the most important, again, speaking to a room full of coaches, the most important thing likely when you start to work with a person is, where do you want to go? Again, a health coach is probably trying to figure out, well, what does the definition of success look like? Where are we trying to go? Are you trying to run a marathon? Are you trying to become a power lifter? Are you trying to be able to lift up your grandkids when you're 85 or 25, depending on which community you're in, right? But the question is like, what are we trying to do with, I'm sorry, can everyone mute themselves one more time? Or Devorah, can you help me mute people? Because I'm hearing noise in the background. It probably is the phone people calling in. Thank you so much. So we need to figure out how much money ideally we want to generate in the next month or within the next 3 months. Let's come up with an actual number. Okay, I'm going to say two things, then I'll open up the conversation. Thing number one is, does anyone not know how to figure that out or what questions to ask themselves to figure that out? And okay, great. Thank you, Esty. And then the second question is, does anyone have fear sharing that number? Awesome. Ayala, Hindi, Miriam. Awesome. Okay. Now, the two things I'll say, I might have done this once or twice before. That's how I say it. So in a lot of cases, we go blank in the face because we're like, I don't know money. I'm not sure how this works. How do I figure it out? Is it $1 billion? Is it $6? Like what, where am I trying to go? So the first thing is we've got to figure out, how do we figure this out? And so that's the first question I'll ask and open up if anyone's not sure on that yet. And the second thing is that a lot of us as healers have a lot of shame around money. A lot of shame around money. What are they going to think? Can I even say the thing out loud? And the thing that we have to realize is that in this space and the space of people that help you build your business, there can't be shame around that, because if there's shame around it, there's no ability to get data and no ability to get help. Does that make sense? I'll give you an example. Imagine someone coming to you to help them with their marriage, and she literally has so much shame around what's going on that you don't know what actually the issue is, or you have no idea where she's trying to get. If that's the case, you guys are mostly wasting your time, because ultimately, like, how is she going to get to a destination that she doesn't know? And if you don't know, again, I don't know, like you're missing like a major thing, right? You're not going to be able to actually build a strategy for her that's going to help. And if she can't name what she wants, that's the first place we have to start. So we need to get clarity, and we need to relieve some of the guilt, shame, fear around actually calling out where we're trying to go. Does that make sense? Okay, this is the working part of the conversation. Someone unmute themselves and ask for help in any of these things that we've talked about so far. Esty, can we borrow you first because you raised your hand?
Yeah, you could. I'm embarrassed because I know I have questions, but I don't really know what to ask.
I love it. How many of you guys are feeling the same way, just with a quick show of hands? Okay, great. Oh, everyone else knows what they're doing. You're the only weird one, Esty. No, I appreciate that. Great. So perfect. So my first question would be, do you have an idea about how much money you'd like to generate in a month?
Like how much we need to live?
So that's a great question. Esty, you're going to make this whole class work like clockwork, and I appreciate you. This is why I prepared. I always, Devorah is very, very organized, and she's like, well, what are you going to talk about? I said, all the magic didn't actually come out in the call, so I'll give you a framework, but I don't want to actually build the whole thing exactly because of this. So one question is what we're trying to do how to live? Or is what we're trying to do an additional income? Or is what we're trying to do how to change our living situation? What's the question? Right? So again, I would just venture to say, as someone that works with a lot of business owners, of which that's all of you guys, right? That a lot of times we don't exert a lot of energy to stay status quo. I'll say it again. We don't exert a lot of energy to stay status quo. So when I'll sit with someone, I'll say, I'd love not to feel broke every single month. The truth is that they probably won't put a lot of effort into actually making the changes they need, because that outcome is not terribly exciting to them, right? If you're going to sit, again, I keep coming back to shalom bias stuff, but I don't know why, or fitness, right? Again, for me, like when it comes to me changing my diet, for example, there are certain things I like to eat. There are certain times I like to eat it. And unless I'm actually going for a really exciting goal, I'm not really going to change my habits. So a lot of times, staying status quo, how much money do we need to live per month? That might not be so exciting for you to do some of the self-development work that's necessary in order to completely change your prospect. I'll give you an example, just sharing with my own story. My wife and I are both Bali Tshuva. My wife made Pesach from year one, and we were working on college campus. And so she was like hosting, again, she'd been from for 15 minutes, and then she's hosting Pesach for like 800 college students for like most of our marriage. It went over great. And I was like, do you need Shalom Bayis help? Yes. Anyway, so one of her dreams was, I want to go in a Pesach program. We're Bali Tshuva from California. I didn't know what a Pesach program was. I hardly knew what Pesach was, even though I was a rabbi, right? What do we do this? But I had a goal when I was launching my business that she should be able to pick whichever Pesach program she wants to. We went to one and it was really not great. And so then I was like, okay, so my goal is you pick the place, we'll do it. So it was this crazy audacious goal because she picked a great place, thank God. But I was able to do the work because I was highly motivated to get to that outcome. Does that make sense? If she had said, I would just love not to go broke every month, like we were already more or less not going broke every month or going a little bit broke every month, I'm not going to work so hard. So Esty, you asked a great question, is what is my ideal outcome when it comes to growing my business? Is it to retire my husband so he can learn in Kola his whole time? Is it to pay for my kids to stay in Kola for the next 15 generations? Or is it just to be able to, get housekeeping another way? Like, these are things that people really have to be asking themselves, what am I doing all of this work for? What is my why? Batsheva had a question and Miriam had a question. See, Esty, you teed us up. I told you this is going to be great. Thank you. And so that would be one thing, if I can give you homework, hopefully you'll come back to the next session, is what is your why? What is the objective for you launching your business? Best case scenario.
I do have my whys.
What is it? Do you guys see how she's thinking about it? I want your whys to be single sentences on a piece of paper. You got to be able to look at it.
I have my whys. I just have a lot of shame.
We love that. Can you guys raise your hand if you're also feel shame when you'd be sharing in front of a room full of people? Great. All of us do.
Okay,
Thank you for doing, you're so brave.
And the worst is I have no idea who I'm sharing in front of.
Yeah, awkward. Totally. Yep. Just assume there's a random dude that'll never meet you that lives in Phoenix. Yeah, keep going.
Okay. No, okay. So my whys, I'd love to knock down my house and start again. My whys, I would like to support the next till Mashiach comes. Learning. So those are big.
So let me tell you something crazy about those whys. Go ahead.
The worst part is that I don't have a business. For the past 25 years of my life, I have a degree, let's say in speech therapy, but I didn't do anything with that. And then I trained for some other things, but I didn't do anything with that. My husband works, but it's not enough to do any of these things that I just said.
Awesome. So let me ask you a question. Go ahead.
Yeah. And so I'm at a place that I feel like, you asked, how to make money, like the fast way to make money today. And for example, I have a passion to pass on the Masorah. So I figured, hey, I'll take this Kala teacher training course. And everybody says you don't do that to make anything. But I figured hey, it's something I have a passion for. Let me see. So, obviously they had to accept you. I took a very prestigious course and whatever, right? They have to call my Rupp. They have to go, right? Fine, I get in. And then then what? I reach out to some people
okay, let me do. Okay, so remember I told you that Jewish people traditionally massively overthink everything, and it becomes a very, very complicated thing. So again, it's the same thing. She's like, you should know that love on a long time ago. No, so the reality is, let's make this super, super simple. The first thing is figure out you want to demolish your house, you want to build a new house. Let's start with that. That's the first thing you said. Cool. When would you like to do that? In the next year, potentially? Great. So here's your homework, okay? I want you to figure out, again, you live in Brooklyn, I'm guessing? Lakewood, great. So do you know anyone that does any kind of construction in Lakewood? Hopefully the answer is yes, everybody. And if you don't, your husband does. So speak to a contractor who lives in Lakewood that would say, hey, could you give me a basic, again, he shouldn't charge you for this. And if he does.
I know how much it would, I know how much.
How much? To demolish and rebuild?
I'm guessing 5 million.
$5 million. Okay, and you want to do that in the next year.
Why not?
Awesome. I love that. Okay, so here's, again, I can barely add. I'm going to use my calculator. So that means if you're starting from zero to make $5 million in the next 12 months, you need to be generating $416,000 per month. What comes up for you when you think about that?
Some kind of investment.
We're talking about your business. Yeah, some kind of investment. You could sell.
Oh.
You could sell drugs. Yeah, if you wanted or something. But let's say with the business that you're currently working on.
No, so I'm currently doing a breathwork training program. But like
how much money are you actually making right now in any coaching related businesses?
Nothing.
Great. So does it feel to you insurmountable to go from zero to $400,000 in the next, let's say, 3 months?
Yes, and I'm taking this breathwork training program with.
1 second, Esty.
Yeah.
I know everything you're going to do will potentially work. I'm literally just speaking to you about the business itself. So I think, again, if you're making zero, jumping to 400K, that scares me. Would jumping to $10,000 a month in the next 3 months not terrify you? Does that seem doable? I think that's super doable. Cool. So let's say your number is $10,000 a month. Now, it might mean that you won't have the $5 million to demolish your place and build out the new. Everyone's going to come visit you in Lakewood once you build your place. It'll be awesome. That might be, just if nothing changes, that might be like a 2 or 3 year goal, which again, still not bad. Like $5 million in 3 years is like, that's pretty good. But why don't we say, let's start you at 10 grand a month, and your goal to start making that is within 3 months from right now. So it's what is the 25th of March? June, July, August. By August 25th, write this down, I will be making $10,000 a month from my coaching business. Boom. We're going to jump to, thank you for that. I appreciate that. You opened up a whole, like we said, I knew this would happen, open up a whole, what's it called, Pandora's box of questions and thoughts. But that was one thing to do. Again, figure out where do you want to go? What's the actual number associated with it? Where am I currently, and how do I get there? And just divide it by months, and that's it, right? If it's a $5 million thing and I want to have it in 3 years, divide 5 million by 3, divide that by 12. That's how much money you want to be making per month. Cool.
Thank you.
Thank you. Again, if I can do the math, anyone can do the math. This will be very, very easy. I can't add. Batsheva Horowitz, can you go next,
Yes.
please?
Okay, so first of all, the chat is disabled. I tried putting it in there, but it's not
Oh,
working.
Devory, that's. Could you help us with that, possibly? But whatever,
Okay,
go for it, Batsheva.
So for me, I'm a little stuck on that question because right now it's not about the money. It's really about the experience. Down the road, yes, eventually I would love to make a nice income out of it, but now I'm trying to generate clients so that I could get experience and just get out there a little.
What would getting out there and getting experience do for you? What would you ultimately like to do?
Well, first of all, the satisfaction. Like I
Okay.
really enjoy the coaching, so
Okay.
it fills me up in a way that nothing else does. And then, yeah, if I think about it financially, then down the line, I would love to be able to bring in another income so that, when we marry off our children,
Okay.
it could help my husband not
How
be the
old is
only
how old
one.
is how old is your oldest?
He's 20.
He's 20. How soon would you like him to get
Just
married?
very soon. We're just starting out,
Okay.
but yeah, it
So
is pretty soon.
let's say, theoretically speaking, how much money would you like to be able to contribute towards him once he gets married? A month.
So I didn't think about it so
That's my point.
specifically.
So sit down and think about it,
I
right?
hear what you're
Maybe it's
saying.
5 grand, maybe it's 10 grand. Where is he going to live? Where is he going to learn? Again, make it a tangible, realistic thing. He's going to be living in this neighborhood in Yerushalayim. Okay, so rent is going to be what? $800 million per month, and it's and he's going to be in such and such a kollel, and he's going to want his wife to get such and such a stroller, and think about what would feel good for you in order to be able to give to him without making your husband go crazy. He's got to come up with this extra money, right? So it's going to shrink the time horizon. I want to share one crazy story, which is hopefully going to be mind melding for you, specifically because you said you love helping people and you're doing it for the experience. Okay, you ready? There's a wonderful lady. She's one of the most brilliant parenting coaches I know. Her name's Ruchi Koval, and she lives in, I think it's Cleveland, Ohio, but it could be Cincinnati. Forgive me. I live in Phoenix. I don't know cities in Ohio except for those two. It might be one or the other. You could totally check her out. She's great. She's written 2 books. She's amazing. Crazy story. And again, I only say it because I share this story publicly, and she's okay with me sharing it. I knew about her from afar. My dear friend hired her to help coach their kid. My friend and his wife hired her to help them with parenting their kid, right? And so I asked my friend, I was like, oh my gosh, like Ruchi's your coach? Like, what's it like? And he's like, the truth is, if she charged more, I'd show up more often. So I freaked out because I called Ruchi and I'm like, Ruchi, you're not charging enough. She's like, I'm not a therapist. I'm a grandmother. I'm a frum grandmother. What do I need all this money for? I'm like, forget about you. Give me the extra money. But the people that are hiring you are not taking it seriously enough because you're not charging enough. And so once she's like, oh, I'm like, what's the value? And again, she deals with complicated cases, right? Kids that are whatever, like seriously throw her an issue and she can like handle like the rough stuff. It's not like, my kid keeps forgetting his backpack at school, right? I said, what would be the value? And she's like, oh my gosh, like people are spending thousands of dollars a month to get these kind of problems solved. And I'm like, awesome. So that's what your price really should be. The crazy thing is people are paying her prices. She still hasn't sent me all of her money yet, but thank God she's found ways to deal with it, right? But the idea is that she has clients now who are actually getting better results because they're spending more money and therefore they're valuing it more. So Batsheva, I would just offer as an invitation to you to realize if you're going to coach, if people pay, they will pay a lot better attention. I've literally given away, watch this. I'm giving you work with talk to any of my clients. I'm giving away stuff that people pay me for in this call. 9.9 times out of 10, people don't take action if they haven't paid, which is a crazy thing. So I tell anyone, even if you, again, figure out your favorite tzedakah, you could send it to me, you could send it to Dvori, you could send it to your neighbor, like figure out a place to go with the money if you don't want the money. Totally good. Bury it in your backyard. I don't know. I haven't found a Jewish family yet that like doesn't know what to do with extra money, but that's okay. But like, do take money for the sake of the client. If it's not for your sake, for your kid's sake, for your home's sake, give it to someone else on this call. That makes sense because when people pay, they pay better attention. Okay, Miriam's next.
You're saying also that if I motivate myself for financial reasons, it will come quicker than if I'm motivated for like just because.
Let me tell you a secret. I did this again. Yes, a young woman reached out to me to help her. I love to sell. I love selling. Believe it or not, I couldn't ask for money when I was a rabbi for a million years. I couldn't fundraise. Everyone's like, you have a square jaw. You can talk to people. You like rich people. I could never ask for money. Okay. Now I love sales because I've restructured how I see it. And a woman that was getting started in her real estate career reached out to me, and she doesn't have a lot of money. I charge a lot of money. I'm like, listen, I'll help you for free. Breaking my own rules. Guess what? I lost interest in it, and I showed up again. It was always like Derek Agav. Like she texts me, I get back to her later. When people pay me a lot of money, I pay attention because I'm also invested in this. Because if you've given me money, I want to make sure you get what you want. So when there's not that energetic exchange, and I don't even like to do like swapping services. When there's not that energetic exchange of like cash, people are going to say, well, again, I'm going to get off my soapbox in a second. I have a conversation with I have. Thank God, quite a few Rebam that I'm very close to. One of my Rebam, I had this conversation. He's like, I give people advice all the time and they don't listen to me. I said, start charging him for it. He's like, well, no one's gonna actually pay me. I'm like, maybe the advice isn't great, right? He didn't love that. But the reality is, right, when you're giving away free Eitzah, it's free Eitzah. When you pay, if it doesn't work, you're like, hey, rabbi, hey, coach, hey, lady, this didn't work. What do you got next for me? But if it's just free, is it okay if I bother Rav? Maybe a little bit. The advice blew up in my face. It didn't. Like, if you paid for it, you own it. You got to ask people, and you'll show up differently as well. So it's the cleanest, best medium for actual change. Again, forgive me for saying that. But if you're paying, you're going to pay attention, and if they're paying you, they're going to actually get what their money's worth, and they're not going to feel bad about pushing you if it didn't work.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Miriam, you're up, then Hindi, then Ruchi, and then we're going to push on towards the next thing. Otherwise, we won't get to finish on those topics. Say, Miriam, go for it.
So basically what you're saying is go wild, right? The number that I put that I am obviously not going to tell you because it was too conservative.
Can we pause? Can you say the number and feel the shame of such a low number? Say it. Let's see if you can do it.
I was super realistic. I was thinking of how many additional clients per week, and I was thinking of 500 a week. That's 2K a month.
2K a month. Now,
goal, 3 months.
Watch this, Miriam. Everyone, again, this is great stuff. Okay, this is really great stuff. It's not my stuff. I just borrow and steal from everybody else, right? Okay, what we define as realistic is our reality. So if you see someone that has a crazy amount of Torah knowledge, for example, or an amazing shalom bias, or an amazing whatever, that's their normal. It's not called amazing, right? Go find the local Dayan and ask him, do you have an amazing amount of Torah knowledge? He's like, no, I don't have enough, or I have enough, right? So our realistic standards, that's whatever we're getting in life, right? I've worked with a lot of business people. Again, a guy that's going to buy a $50 million building, right? Normal is $50 million. Like other people are like, $50 million, I want to make $2,000 this month. What, $50 million? Like what? Get out of here with that. So Miriam, it's awesome to label your normal and then get curious about what would a new normal look like for me? Because you will always chase your new normal. Does that make sense?
Yes, but at the same time, you were coaching Esty and she got to a 400+ K number and you brought it down to 10. So I'm trying to understand when you're saying push it.
Give me your go. What's your big goal? What do you want to do with your business in the next year? Best case scenario.
What I want, in what sense, what I want to do with it?
Let's say you have the best year in business you can imagine. What's going on? What are we doing? What are we spending the money on? How's our life changing? What do we want?
In regards to income or in regards to what I'm doing? Give
me your life. Yeah. The income supports the goal. Again, it's not real unless it's supporting the goal. The Pesach program we went on, I think it was like $50,000. That's stupid. Who spent $50,000 on a Pesach program besides this guy right here? I drove a car that was crazy expensive. Why? Again, I have a financial planner. She's like, what are you doing? Stop doing things like that. But the reality was like, I had the vision and then the money fulfilled the vision. So what's your vision? Is it going to Eretz Yisrael twice a year? Is it like, what do you want?
Oh, what I want. I also want to rebuild my house. I just want to live like, I don't want to like think about money. I just want it to be with ease. I want it to be extra, cash. I want to have good investment. I want to have enough money to do renovations, whatever it is. Yeah.
Awesome. So I love this. That's like saying I want to be in good health. The reality is that doesn't actually mean anything.
Okay.
What is the definition of good health? Am I in good health? Are you in good health? Is the neighbor in good health? There's a guy that's 800 pounds that can't walk downstairs. Is he good in health? Well, if you compare him to the guy that can't even walk down the stairs, he's in great health. So what we want to do is create a great deal of specificity around whatever the thing we actually want. So if it's like, I don't want to worry about money, what does that actually mean for you? That means, again, I'm living in such and such a house. My expenses are such and such. It's like you actually have to put thought into it so you can come to something that's actually real that you can chase. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So basically, I need to get clear on the number. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, exactly. That's what I'm saying. It seems so stupidly simple. Oh, figure out how much money you want to make. It's so hard. Most people never think about this stuff. So you're chasing something. It's like, again, someone says, I want better shalom bias. What does better shalom bias look like to that person? What is it really? They're like, I love for my spouse not to scream at me so much. Like, yeah, that's great shalom bias. So for some people, that would be the best shalom bias, just not to get screamed at today. But other people would look at that like, are you serious? That's a disaster. I want to be so excited to come home to my spouse at the end of my day that I'm literally counting down the minutes. For the person that just doesn't want to get screamed at, that doesn't even make sense. That doesn't even register to them. But figure out your definition and then create specificity around it.
Okay, I have another question though.
Yes, go for it.
I'm working and so does my husband. I want mine to be just luxury income. I don't want it to be the
all good. Again, that's exactly my point. I never come into someone else's life and say, you need a different rabbi, you need more shalom bias, you need better health. It's all you. It's all your life. It's what you want. So when you talk about luxury and so what does that look like? What are the actual things? Is it that we have nicer plastic dishes on the Shabbos table? And there was a wonderful lady, I won't say her name because I didn't ask her permission to share the story, but we started with her when she was making about $2,000 a month and she hit 10K and then and I said, when she hit 10K, she couldn't believe it. I can't believe it. I said, okay, now our next goal is 20K. What are you going to do with $20,000 a month? She's like, I'll get another day of cleaning help. And I'm like, cool. What are you going to do with the other $9,950? Or she's in LA, so it's like, $9,800 and whatever, $50, right? So she didn't have the kalim to think about what would be worth that $20,000. The crazy thing is, one time I cried when I saw it. I noticed she had all these books behind her when we were speaking one time, and I said, "What? I love the bookshelves. Where are they?" She said, "Oh yeah, we didn't have money to put in shelves, and all the books were like in piles behind my desk." And so one of the things I did with the money was I built bookshelves in my study. So the idea would be, Miriam, is like, luxury doesn't mean anything. What's the definition of luxury? How you know you're living a luxurious life? And again, you could say in 3 months, in 6 months, in a year, it can always be changing. Does that make sense? Like it's just, it can, but start with 3 months. What does living luxuriously in the next 3 months look like? What's it? Summer? So is it going on a special trip with your family during Holomoid? Or is it going to a different place for Yontif? Or is it just having different cuts of meat or a different meat board for Yontif? Like what is your definition of luxury? And figure that out. And that's the thing that you start to chase. Make sense? Awesome.
Regardless of the current situation, right?
100% regardless of your career. And also, again, I'm not saying this to you, I'm saying in general, you can speak to your spouse, I'm assuming husbands in this case, right? You can speak to your husbands, what does luxury look like for the two of you? Could be that would cause shalom bias issues also or not, right? But what is luxury, like being able to dream together? What does this life look like that we're building? Because he's then going to be bought into the vision. And again, all shalom bias things working well, that's going to push you forward because now you're like doing this thing and it's going to be amazing. Oh, not only that, but also I want a new hat. Okay, great. Well, how much is that going to cost? Does that make sense? So you want to like build that vision out together. Best case scenario, everyone's happily married, God willing. Okay, thank you for that, Miriam. I appreciate it. Hindi, you're up, and then we'll go to Ruchi.
Yeah, so I'm clarifying for myself. So I have my list of my specifics and my mail that got edited as we were talking. But like it's not like it's like this is like feels like just a party of like, oh, what do I want? Here's a wish list of like all the things that I want, and then like here's the money that like I need. Like I don't know, just
so you
it
want
doesn't make sense.
So Hindi, you want me to? Okay, so I'm going to say this thing. We always struggle in the areas that we are there to help other people. Always. So a lot of times people are going to say, well, it's really embarrassed because I literally help my clients with this and I'm struggling. So again, going back to, the spiritual coach usually struggles spiritually. The shalom bias coach usually has marriage problems, right? The person that teaches people to have good self-esteem, it's because they have either in present time or in future tense or in the past tense, a lot of self-esteem issues. You can literally, anything that we help with, we automatically know, anyone that's in the game knows, okay, so this is where you struggled. Right, I have a wonderful client who helps frum women have better marriages, and she's like, oh my God, I can't get out there because there are people that know me that knew that I once looked at my husband the wrong way, and I'm embarrassed about it. And I'm like, everybody knows. Wait 1 second, let's mute because that is not me. Everybody knows whatever you're helping with, that's the thing that you actually struggled with, and own it, right? So Hindi, big picture, I'm picking up that you're like,
no, I remember reading, yeah.
Wait, let me just mute this because
I think it's Hindi's background.
Oh, Hindi, is it your background? If it's your background, there's nothing we can do about it.
Everybody else was muted.
Don't know. Okay, good. It's nice and quiet. Nope, or not. So here's the thing. When it comes to coaching, the best coaches are able to help their clients see beyond their capability. So the very thing that you're going through, oh my gosh, how could I have such a life? That's what you're supposed to help your clients with also. And oftentimes when you sit with this woman and you tell her your health could be better than you can imagine, your relationship with yourself could be better than you can imagine, your relationship with your kids could be better than you can imagine, she's going to look at you with the same lost experience, like look that you have with me. You're like, what? It's just like, I just say stuff and it's just going to come out of thin air. So the answer is, this is how it starts with a vision. So again, if you and not you, God forbid, but one of your clients has never managed to sit down and have a connective conversation with her spouse. So the idea that we're going to have the best marriage ever where we just can't imagine spending it. So we're so excited to spend every second with each other. That might be, going from 0 to 400,000. We're like, let's take one step before we get there. Right? So it might be, can we look forward to Shabbos together? Can we send our kids out and go for a walk together and it comes back? So that whole thing is like, we got to start with a big vision and then we'll dial it back to where can we start today? Does that
so I should
sense?
make a big vision.
Absolutely.
I make a big vision.
100%. It's going to feel weird for us because, again, you've been taking care of people for, I don't know, how long have you been married with children, and do you have younger siblings you ever took care of or parents? Like your whole life.
I don't have kids, yeah.
Okay, but you've been taking care of people for a long time because you're Jewish. That's what we do, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So like very rarely are we able to look and say, what do I want for me? Because it feels really, really bad. But that itself is stuff that we have to work through. Because again, going back to, I've only done this like 100,000 times. What are you going to do with all the extra money? You're not going to start selling drugs or open up an opium den for people to come to. You're going to be like, well, I'll give more tzedakah to the local shul. I'll probably help my sibling who's struggling with this thing. So it's like we have so much shame around wanting more, but what are we going to do with the money? We have to learn how to trust ourselves that God made us good stewards of the things that we care about. We're going to be able to do that. I'm not going to give any specifics, but one of the greatest pleasures I have is I can help someone. Again, for me, it's not a lot of money. For this person, it is a lot of money. I'm cutting out. Can you guys hear me okay?
I hear you.
Okay, great. So for me, the ability to give this person a little bit of money every month so that they and their kids can go and have like an awesome time, like that's the biggest joy in the world for me. So the idea would be figure out what you want your big life to have and actually start to feel that guilt potentially and ask yourself, is that warranted? Or is that just a story? And am I going to be a good steward for the money that I generate with God's help?
And then the guilt, you just say, like, you just stare at it in the face.
Say
And
again?
the shame.
Ah.
Like the shame and the guilt, you just like stare at it in the face and say, like,
The more that you feel it, there's a great book. You don't have to read it. Here's the whole theme. It's called Letting Go. And the idea is that most emotions, I'm the worst at feeling emotions. I can't feel bad emotions. So trust me, if I'm telling you this is possible, like, trust me, of all people that shouldn't be saying it, it's me, right? The idea is emotions are like weather patterns. And if you actually sit in emotion, they think for something like 5 to 7 minutes, it will dissipate. So feeling the guilt, feeling the shame, I'm not worthy, I'm not good enough, I'm not, whatever it is. Again, I'm going like this is all like deep stuff that we're speaking about, but suffice to say, just feeling it oftentimes is enough to diffuse it. And then also, what do I want instead? I'm worthy of abundance. I'm worthy of millions of dollars so I can help millions of people. Right? You're probably not going to use it on something that you don't find is tasteful. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people, there's so many people that are afraid, I'm not going to be frum anymore if I get too much money. It's like, really? Really? That's the thing? You're going to go flying off the derech if you have more money? Probably not. Or you're going to go off the derech either way. But if you're passionate and you're good in your Yiddishkeit, more money is only going to make you support more kollels or whatever.
We're switching on and off most of the day.
Wait,
Just now,
I get it.
Okay.
Yeah, I have someone talking in my background. Yeah,
Gotcha.
yeah.
Okay, great. Does that help?
Thanks. Yeah.
Again, and feel free to reach out after this call, and I'm happy to help work through that. But that was very, very helpful. Thank you for asking. Okay, let's.
Jacob, I
Yes,
just
ma'am.
want to be mindful of the time. Just
Yep.
remind me that we're at 12:50.
Cool.
So
I'm going to reframe the two other things. Then, Ruchi, feel free also to reach out at a different time. Sorry, I won't take your question. I apologize. Okay. So thing number one is, how much money do I want to make? Then you want to ask yourself, and be real, how many hours a week do I want to work? Now, again, if you're like most people, you'll be like, I don't know, 1 million or 3. Like, what realistically? Think about how many children you have or don't have. Think about your other responsibilities. Practically speaking, how many hours do you want to work? Okay, figure that out. Now, again, I'm always happy to strategize with you how to figure that out. I'm going to give you 2 caveats once you have that figured out. Again, say it's 10 hours a week, right? Or it's 20 hours a week. One of the things I learned from I always tell people to do this. Nobody does it, but just try to do it, right? There's a concept that you want to love creating clients as much as you love serving clients. How many of you guys would rather me just find you all the clients, give you all the clients, and then you just coach all day long? That's everybody, right? Oh my God, everybody loves it, right? Here's the secret. If you learn to love the process of getting clients as much or more than actually helping clients, guess what you'll be? Unstoppable. Most of us just don't want to do it yet. That's the challenge. But if you spend as much time helping clients as you do getting the clients, your business is going to be unstoppable. Now, again, I'm not saying you should learn how to do that quite yet. What I am saying is that's the way to think about it. So let's say I want to help. I have 20 hours a week to work, which means I basically want to spend 10 hours a week getting clients. It'll be less likely. And therefore, I'll spend 10 hours a week helping clients. So drum roll, please. This is really where I wanted to go for the call. The amount of money you need to charge per client is when you put those two things together. If I want to make 10 grand a month and I have 10 hours a week to serve clients, I need to charge $1,000 per client per month. That's the magic number. Now you'll think to yourself, what kind of an idiot would pay me and then how many hours? For 4 hours. We meet every week, once a week for an hour. Okay? So for 4 hours, which means I'm $250 an hour. Make sense? That's the math. If you want to make 10 grand a month and you have 5 hours a week to actually serve clients, your cost is $2,000 per month. Now again, your mind might be blowing up. Oh my God, who's going to pay me $500 an hour? Let me tell you a crazy story. Hopefully, after 53 minutes with me, or I was 2 minutes late, so I can't even do that math, 51 minutes with me, I've hopefully established myself to be somewhat of a reasonable person. I hope, not completely crazy. I personally have spent over $15,000 for an hour of a person's time. So when we think about what's possible, I just told you that there's some reasonable or idiot out there in Phoenix that's literally given someone $15,000 per hour. So when we think $250 an hour, $500 an hour, $1,000 an hour, it shouldn't even be that crazy for us. That's how we think about it. Does that make sense? Ask me any questions on that, and then I will try to wrap up with a little bit of homework at the end. Okay, Batsheva and Dissy. Oh my gosh, here we go. Let's go. Please seriously reach out though, because I'm happy to help, and I realize.
Yeah, no, it doesn't sound fair that you're charging based on your two numbers. Like you should be charging based on your value.
Awesome. Write that down. Again, we're always going to get. These are the buying questions. These are the objections that we have come up, and we want to know what all of our objections are. Right? I didn't say anything about your value. I just said this is what you should be charging. This is how you figure out what you should be charging. That's the first step. Right? Again, Batsheva's going to say, but how dare I charge that much money? I'm not worth it. That's not fair.
Because if I could work more hours, then I'll charge less, because then I have more clients. That
building a business is a luxury. Write this down. Write this down. Building a business is a luxury. It's not a necessity. So when you go, again, I have not currently owned or have not personally purchased a shaitel. That said, how much does a shaitel cost? It could cost $1,500. It could cost $10,000. It could cost $20,000. What's the cost of the shaitel? It's like whatever you want to buy, right? Can you find a $20,000 shaitel? No problem. Can you find a $20 one? Might be harder, but you could probably come in under $1,000 if you really had to beg, borrow, and steal, right? So what's the cost of the shaitel? Again, you could find a scarf for $5 or borrow someone else's or just do something. The question is it's a luxury, right? So
everything you're coaching is not a luxury for people.
So I would venture to say
people really need help.
Yes, Batsheva, that's right. There's always going to be people who need help. It doesn't have to be. Again, I'm sorry. My personal bias is I'm Jewish, so I happen to believe in an infinite God, and infinite God suggests potentially that there are other people besides Jacob Rupp that can help the whole world. So I am trying to find people that align with me, and I have an awareness that the people that can't afford me or don't like me or don't want to work with a guy or don't want to work with a guy that wears gray shirts or don't want to work with a guy that wears gray shirts that has pictures on the walls behind him, they will find their person. I don't have to be for everyone. In fact, I'm really not for most people. I'm just for the people that are right for me. So Batsheva, you're 100% right. And again, going back to just our theme as Jews, we don't have to be personally Mashiach for everybody. It's possible that there's one other person that might be able to help this person that can't afford you or doesn't want to pay for you. And yes, everybody needs help. And we should always have a nice, wonderful network of people that will help for less money than we want to charge. And there's always going to be people that charge less than we want to charge because most coaches are terrified to charge a lot of money. Does that make sense? But again, that's that same bias that we have, which is we have to be for everybody. So I wanted to wrap the call with a few things. Again, Devoria has my number. I can't write in chat. Oh, the chat is enabled now? No, chat's disabled. If you guys want to write down, my number is...
The chat is not disabled now.
No, but it wasn't. It says chat is enabled, but it wasn't.
Now, Baruch Hashem. It says I'm apparently not allowed to type in the chat. So I don't know what to say. Here's my number. It's 818-917-7834. You can WhatsApp me or text me. I prefer WhatsApp, but if you're too firm for WhatsApp, you can text me, and then I will respond much slower. Also, my email is Jacob.
What is the zip, the area code?
818.
It's in the chat.
818-917-7834. Yes.
Okay, I put it into Slack. Okay.
Devory has all my information at my email address, all the things. That's the first thing. Here's the homework for today. Please, please, please do it. Again, you don't have to because like you're not paying for it. So it will just show that most people don't actually do the homework. But if you want to get lots of value, here's what I would tell you to do. Figure out.
I just want to say something.
Yes, ma'am.
Just really quickly that I offered a nice free service to my recent group of coaches where they get practice coaching, and I was begging them to prove to me that I can offer something that you don't have to pay for, and you're showing up and you're doing it. I think they're doing pretty well.
Okay,
so I'm
good.
going to say now, let's prove this.
Okay, awesome. I'm super excited. Okay, here's the homework. And you guys, so now Devory's going to hold you to do it. Okay, number one, how much money do I want to make? Number two, how many hours a week do I want to work? Number three, therefore, what is my per client per month rate? Is it $1,000, $2,000, $50,000? I'm not sure, right? Believe it or not, there are people who will buy at any price point. Okay? If you don't believe me, walk into Walmart and then walk into Neiman Marcus and you will find the reality is there's people in both stores. And there's not crazy people either way. And you can either, I saw a guy wear a shirt, it was $1,000 for a t-shirt. I'm like, are you insane? The answer is like, no, I'm insane because there's someone out there that's smart enough to charge $1,000 for a t-shirt. Does that make sense? My shirt's not $1,000, right? But there's a market for anything. The second thing I can tell you is now that you have your per cost, per client, per month rate, start to ask yourself, who are the people who would be willing to invest this amount of money? Now, again, please God, don't answer rich people because rich people are usually rich because they don't like spending lots of money, except for things that they really want. Does that make sense? I've never found a rich person that's stupid about money. I found plenty of poor people that are stupid about money, but most rich people are not stupid and not stupid about money. Just as someone
We're not looking for stupid clients.
Correct. You want, right. The difference is you want to find someone that values the outcome at the cost that you are charging. Values the outcome at the cost that you are charging. Meaning, and I'm going to say it very quickly, then I got to jump off because I have a call in 1 minute. And first of all, I thank you guys so much for spending time. I had a great time. This was so much fun. I really hope that this was valuable to you. You want to find people that value the outcome at the price point that you're charging. I will explain what that means very quickly. Okay? There is a market for everything. Usually the more you charge, the better, the more the person wants the outcome or the more they value the outcome. The more educated they are about what they're getting, which oftentimes means the better that you have to be. Does that make sense? So if you're looking to work with someone, again, thinking about Ruchi, when she was coming in and charging, I'm not going to throw her rates out there, but they're sizable now. Usually she's working with someone, this is not the first coach they've ever hired. This is not the first solution they've ever gone to. They actually know what hasn't worked and it's been not working for a very long time. It does not mean there's rich clients. Again, everyone that I've ever worked from Ohio says, you should know, no one has any money in Ohio. I'm like, great. Happens to be like, I think 2 or 3 of the biggest families that are all over all the books are all live in Ohio, but that's okay. Second point, right? Or no one ever has money in the UK. I'm like, the client that gave me the most money lives in the UK. Right? But the point is, there's always going to be rich people everywhere, but what we don't need rich people. We need people that are motivated and want the desired outcome at the price that you're going to charge. Does that make sense? Going back to the guy that spent $1,000 on the t-shirt, it's not that he didn't think that there's shirts that you can buy for $5. It's that the branding and what it said about him was worth $1,000 for a t-shirt. Does that make sense? So that you'll literally have the same reaction I did, which was just like, oh my God, who said that guy had so much money, right? You're like, what? So he knew that. That's why he bought the shirt, and that's why someone made the shirt and charged that much money for it. Make sense? It's all just like in the perception and the mindset of the person. Okay, that's officially my end. Hopefully not my end, but that was the end of what I'll be talking about today. We have another time in the calendar. Please reach out however I can help. Devory has her challenge of please getting the most value.
Getting your email address.
Devory, you have that. It's Jacob at the Rupp Group. It's 2 P's, RUPP.com. God forbid anybody has social media, but I'm also all over social media, so it's probably easy to find me on that platform. Also, just look up Jacob Rupp. But no one will do that because no one has that. Jacob at theruppgroup.com, 818-917-7834. God should bless us in all of our things. Thank you so much, Devory, for setting this up. I had a great time. Devory, can you please send me the recording? This was so much fun. I want to review it. Thank you, guys. I appreciate it. Hatzlach with everything. Thanks. Bye.
Thank you. Thank you.